I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for this opportunity to be here tonight. I just ask that you watch over us tonight, and thank you so much for the people that helped to host us down here and to cook the food and everything that was put into having it down here at St. Paul. And God, I just pray that you watch over our decisions tonight and guide us in everything that we do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Right, we do have a quorum. Allison will be joining us in just a little bit. Call this meeting to order.
All right. Well, first off, I'd just like to say thank you for hosting. The food was spectacular.
As always.
Every time we come down here, the food is great. It's always a pleasure to come down here. There's such a great tone and great feeling in the buildings, and that continues tonight. So thank you for hosting us. And I was amazed that Bruce told me he actually started cooking last night and that he worked all night on that lasagna. Is that correct, Bruce?
Yeah, you bet. Every bit.
Oh no, it was great. Thank you all very much for having us. We love to come down and love to looking forward tonight to letting Bruce talk a little bit about some of the things that are taking place here at the campuses. Before you have the consent agenda. We have our agenda for tonight, our two previous meetings, the enrollment report. The enrollment is right where it was last month and right kind of where it's been for about a year. I don't see any changes in it. You've also had an opportunity to look at the district financial report, and really I feel good with where we are with our finances right now. You know, it's still a little bit early in the year. We've still got a little time left, but we seem to be tracking about where we normally should. Tina, there you are. I lost you for a second. Tina, anything you want to add or say about the?
No, I'm like you. I feel
Thank you all for the food. I don't know if you heard all that, but thank you so much for the work you did. Tina,
I
sorry.
feel very good about where we're at too.
Okay, all right. So I would recommend then that you approve the consent agenda.
Natalie, second by Josh. All in favor?
Aye. Okay. All right, let's work around the room. Bruce, we'll skip you because we've got you your own block of time. So Tammy, anything to tell us?
Things are going good at the middle school. We did decide to not do the spring interim atlas testing just because we've missed so many instructional days with the snow, and so everybody's moving forward with instruction and trying to make sure that kids are getting those essential standards mastered. We're busy planning for end of year activities and starting to think of master scheduling ideas for next year. So things are going good. We're just in the middle of things.
Okay. All right. Jennifer?
Well, somehow we went to sleep and woke up and it's March already, and that snuck up on us pretty quickly. Like Tammy said, it's that time that we're starting to plan for next year. Not to steal Tanya's thunder, but we've been knee deep in our pre-K transition conferences, starting to get them ready for services for next year. So that's our busy, keeping us busy this week. I know you primary parents know we have Spring Go Bingo this Thursday planned. That's our PTSO fundraiser. So we'll have that this week. The Rotary Club from Eureka Springs will be coming on Friday to present all of our first graders with a book. That's a years-long tradition for as far back as I can remember, and so we're always excited to host them. And they spend some time helping students shop for books and sit down and read with them, so that's always really fun. And then on Monday or Tuesday, March 11th, we will finally have hit our 100th day. So that's kind of been a little bit longer than normal. It usually hits in January, but we'll finally make it to 100 on Monday. So that's what we got. And
on
then,
the calendar you're on, when you hit 100, there's not a lot left.
There's not a lot left.
Yeah.
And then, of course, your first grade, well, I guess you've got a first grader, don't you, Josh? Our spring musical will be Thursday, next Thursday, also. So.
Okay, great. All right.
Just on my thunder, we're doing 37 pre-K transition conferences into the program.
And lots of reports this time of year, like we turn in high costs to try to recoup some money. So I'm working on that report, and then civil right data collection, which will be super fun. That's just what I'm doing now. That's all.
All fun stuff.
Are you full staff?
Pardon?
Are you still full staff?
Yes, until next year. But yes, we actually are.
So our federal final allocations were finally released last week at the end of the week. So working on redoing the budgets, just to adjust for those increases in amounts. There's no huge differences in any of our budgets, but I'm working on that. And then of course their pre-K evaluations will filter down to me, and then I'll be running crazy taking care of that. But that's where we're at.
Bailey, you've got a couple of things in here, but do you have anything else?
The only thing I want to touch on was the, yesterday we had a training, a partnership training with our CSSOs and our local law enforcement, and so we really try to be proactive and have something quarterly with them, and we invite our SROs and our law enforcement to come work with us, and we have a third-party trainer that comes through and runs scenarios with our CSSOs and our team. And so that's always very beneficial, and so we appreciate the partnership with them and being able to get that training in. And to be honest, we're only one of two schools that are actually that are proactive, that do it more than just the once a year that's required. We try to do it quarterly, and so we just, after talking with our team, we just feel like that's the best training we can do. Is just that, and so. So anyways, that was yesterday, and we appreciate that and had a good time with that.
Did our SROs, everybody showed up?
Yep, both SROs showed up, and so anytime we can get training with them, and so yeah, we had most of our CSSOs and then our SROs.
Good.
Jill?
Well, not a whole lot going on. They signed a free breakfast for next year. I have a Zoom meeting on Thursday, and that'll give me more details where I can share with everybody. That's pretty much all I have right now.
Blaine?
Well, we're at that time of year that we're kind of cleaning up on our budget, seeing what we got left over, and starting looking towards like our summer projects. So that's about where we're at right now. We've got some other stuff kind of going on that we'll talk about here later.
Okay.
At the intermediate school, we are just getting as much in as we can before testing hits. We're celebrating Dr. Seuss Week this week, so we've got some fun activities planned for that. We have an Eagle Rally coming up on the 14th, and we're just getting ready for parent-teacher conferences. Jenny from the co-op is visiting us to work with us with science stuff on the 20th, and then we'll have class pictures on the 20th. And then it'll be spring break time, so.
Matt, you have anything to add?
I don't have a lot to add. I've just, been going to career fairs, and there's some promising candidates coming out of college, and they had one at the co-op today, and that's always nice because they set them down beforehand. Jennifer was actually on the panel one year where they get to ask a panel of principals some questions and kind of go through what an interview's like, and it's just a neat experience for those kids, and then getting to talk to them afterwards is always good. So.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Bruce, anything you want to fill us in on St. Paul?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to introduce Mr. Alexander and let him talk for just a second, and I got some more so that he can get his kids and families out.
We'll just work from that right into.
Yep.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Alexander is my music teacher, K-12. He came to me this year and wanted to start a climbing club, which is something that's new across the state of Arkansas. I give it a few years, it's going to be a AAA sanctioned event because it's in the Olympics now. We have some really outstanding kids. I wish they could have all been here, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. A because he's going to brag about them way better than I can.
Yeah, so as Mr. Dunlap said, this is our first year having a rock climbing team. One of my friends who I've been climbing with and running with for a long time came up to me last year and was like, hey, we've got to get more high school kids climbing. And I was like, let's do it. I don't know how. And so she found a league that started in Colorado and is quickly spreading throughout the country. and now we're able to go compete and practice at rock climbing facilities, and we're going to take some outdoor climbing trips at the end of this month. I don't know if you know, but Arkansas is like a world famous climbing destination. Professionals come here all the time. We host competitions all the time. Like the rock quality and the amount of climbing just in our area of the state is something really special. So it's been a great opportunity to get these kids involved and teach them like the safety, the technique, all that kind of stuff. So this year we started practicing in October. We went over to Bentonville every weekend to the rock climbing gym there and started working on yoga, core strength, safety, rope technique, all kinds of things that go into rock climbing. Just because it's so much mental growth as much as it is physical. And then we got the chance to compete against some other schools in Arkansas. We had 3 competitions against like Northwest Arkansas schools and then 1 state competition against everybody. And these students did incredibly well. We took home like a lot of awards at the end of all of it. So I'd like to introduce some of our students who climbed. This is Creek Wilson. He won the state championship for middle school boys.
Yeah.
And we have Kenya McKinney and Damian Tucker, who are part of our 3rd place state high school boys climbing team. And we have Chaos Sparshot, who placed 3rd overall in the middle school girls at state. So, fantastic results for such a new sport. I grew up in a little small town in Oklahoma, really similar to St. Paul, and the only sport I was offered was basketball. As much as I love basketball, it wasn't really for me. So it was really awesome to be able to give kids an opportunity for a sport that isn't necessarily like a team sport like that. So, do y'all have any stories or anything you want to say?
Where do you practice? Where do you practice at? How do you practice?
What's the name of the facility? It's
we went to Climb Bentonville, where they have plastic rocks that they set on a wall. And so we go up there and we practice on the routes and figure out like techniques and how to make certain moves and how to hold your body to do certain things. And then the competitions, they would go in and it'd be new routes that they hadn't really climbed before, or only climbed once or twice. And then they'd compete based on like who can climb the hardest, who can fall the least amount of times, and who can do like all of the disciplines of climbing.
So is to be a state champion or a state runner-up or whatever, is that based on your speed up the mountain, or is that based on those combination of skills?
It's based more on difficulty than speed. You can take as long as you want, as long as you don't get tired and fall.
And one of the things I do want to say, Mr. Alexander didn't, he taught me, I'm new at this myself.
Yeah.
But it takes 3 team members to qualify as a team.
Yeah.
And all 3 have to complete the courses, the routes that they designate. And so they have difficulty levels on each one. And so like the day that we went up and watched on February the 14th, Saturday, February State Championship, we had several staff members that went up and watched and observed. There was some that was marked that kids couldn't do in the state competition. I guess probably for difficulty level, because some of the rocks came out off like this, and it was really cool. But anyway, they climbed the ones that are specified for the competition. And, it was just amazing. That was my first time to ever watch anything like this. And to watch our kids, a lot of it's problem solving. That's what I love. The kids are having a problem solve. I saw Creek a couple of times get to a spot, and he's like, well, how do I get to that next one? And the kids were shaking their arms out because the wall is about 35, 40 feet high. 60 feet. I knew it was high. And so, you get to the top, and some of it, is upper body strength, and you're really having to stretch your leg and use all your muscle groups. So it was really amazing to watch our kids. One thing I do want to say, our 3 high school girls aren't here, and we went first, second, and I don't know if Zoe plays, but they won the state championship in senior girls division.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, the 2 twins that we have, they tied. And based on something that they did in a climb, one got first place over the other one. But our senior girls did take the 3rd place overall in the girls division. So it was really a fun day and really excited. He was able to get a grant to get some of our kids to be able to do this because it's about $500 a kid for the season. But But it's really amazing. I'm glad our kids got the opportunity to do it and looking forward to next year already.
When did y'all know you enjoyed climbing rocks?
Like 5.
I mean, I've been climbing in the Boy Scouts a little longer. I've been with Billy over there, my scoutmaster. So I've been climbing with them a few times. So.
Cool.
I thought it would be fun because solo climbing was
And we got some really cool pictures I should have had uploaded and everything, but we've got a folder. Kim created us a folder for our climbing group, and we'll share that with you guys. So at sometime on your own, you can look and see what's
It's on our Facebook.
see the height of the cliff. I call it cliff, wall, whatever it is. It is really cool.
60 feet, it's all the same. The cliff,
Yeah,
the wall,
I'm telling you.
whatever, it's a long ways
I
down.
really got to brag on Mr. Alexander. Monday's off. You know, a lot of Mondays, Saturdays, they're going to climb. And, you know, we furnished the bus, and he came up and drove the bus, took the kids up there, and they spend their days off doing this. So, really proud of him. And
So all of your competition is done on walls with stuff below it? You don't get to go out and climb?
So we didn't compete on any outside walls. It was all inside on plastic holds. And,
cool.
Like just in a more regulated area. But we do have 2 trips coming up at the end of March where we're going to get to go climb outside. We're going to climb at Fitzgerald Mountain in Springdale on March 22nd. And then the next weekend, Horseshoe Canyon Ranch is hosting the Arkansas Climbers Festival. And through that grant, actually the league won another grant from the Ford Bronco Explore More grant or something like that, that is allowing them to purchase all of the outdoor equipment for these kids to get to go to that festival as well. So we are going to get to climb some real rocks, and I'm really excited about that. Now that they have like all the safety and all the skill set needed.
Yeah. Awesome. That's good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Hey, before I go on, I know you already have, but I really got to brag on the staff of getting everything ready. Miss Milani came up yesterday and actually started getting things ready and getting Kim and Billy and Kendra and Krista and Canyon and Tucker and a bunch of kids. They've all put this together, so great job by them. Like Tammy said, we're not doing interim assessments either. You know, missed over that week of school. Just felt like it wasn't necessary right now. Our time is better spent on getting our kids ready for summative at the end of the year, so that's our focus right now. At the high school, we're already looking at CAP conferences. Boy, it snuck up on me. We got parent-teacher conferences, what, next week? 2 weeks, and we need to have CAP conferences. So, you know, to have CAP conferences, you gotta have your schedule ready. Well, our schedule's about 98% ready for next year. We're looking at a couple of things, which is gonna lead me into this. I've got a team of teachers going with me next Monday. We're gonna load up on the little bus. We're going to Quitman, Arkansas. Quitman is a block scheduling school. And the reason we're going there is they do an AB block. They're a 5-day-a-week school. Monday, Wednesday, they have 4 classes that meet. Tuesday, Thursday, they have 4 classes that meet. And that's it on those days. And then on Friday, they meet with every teacher for about 35 to 40 minutes, so every teacher gets them the same amount of time each week. Mr. Law had actually mentioned this to me back several months ago, if I'd ever thought about block scheduling. I have. I've actually been looking at it for about a year. Dr. Gregory and I have been kind of toying with it and what that would look like. And so I reached out to the Quitman principal and we had a good conversation. And he said if I was a 4-day-a-week school, I would definitely be on block scheduling because it works better on a 4-day-a-week school. I'm not sold on it, but I just feel like if we want to get our instruction where it needs to be in the classroom, especially at the high school where we can have small group instruction just like the elementary teachers do every day. I love it when I go in and watch elementary teachers do small group. We don't get that at the high school because we get our kids for about 55 minutes and then they're off to the next class, okay? So we're looking at ways that we can incorporate more time, especially into our core subjects that we're being assessed on, and how we can raise that kid from a 2 to a 3 on the Atlas Assessment, or a 1 to a 2. Try to get that growth in, you know. Meet the kids where, you hear us say that all the time, meet the kids where they're at. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're gonna go down and study it. We're gonna spend about a half a day with them due to the length of the drive. And then on the way back, we're gonna talk about it and see what we thought. And then we'll take, the whole staff already knows. I invited the whole upper secondary staff to go, and about 7 of them are going with me. And so then we're gonna talk about it, and then we've already got a block schedule made for next year if we choose to go that route. I've got the traditional schedule made if we choose to go that route. So a lot of interesting things going there, and I'll keep you updated on that and see where that goes and what does that look like. Maybe at the next board meeting, kind of tell you where we're leaning towards. But we're going to dig into it and look at it from there. Bailey, would you bring that up?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hey, and so I know each principal has been presenting on their academic data. And so this is based off our summative from last year. I got to brag on Kim. I said, Kim's my data person. By the way, what she can do in 5 minutes takes Bruce about a week and a half. The first thing I'd have to do was call Ryan or Bailey and said, how do I set this spreadsheet up? That'd be the first thing. So Kim took care of all this for me. I got to brag on Kim. So, and Kendra and all my team, they do this stuff for me. So this is our data from last year. I know it's a long ways off, and Bailey can share this with you guys if you want, but this is our 310 data from our Atlas Summative from last year. And I know when Tammy did a presentation, we looked at the state average and our district average and then our campus average. And I know we don't want to be at the state average because if the state's here, we want to be here because we don't want to be at state average. But we got to start somewhere, right? We need a baseline, a base point, and that's where we're at. And if you look, the red is your level ones. That's not where we want to be. Your greens is where we definitely want to be, and your blues are where we want to be. So we got some room for growth, okay? But I want you guys to take a look at that. We're close to the state average. ELA, math, science, we're close. We're higher than the state average in a couple of areas and grades, different subject bands, and we're lower in others. Right now, we're struggling in math. I'm gonna be honest with you. Our secondary kids are struggling in math, okay? We're gonna rectify that, promise you. We're gonna take care of that. It's gonna get better. But we're looking to grow. And so this is our scores from last year. What can we do to improve? Looking at block scheduling is one of the ways that we can do that. If we don't go that route, we're still looking at how we can get the interventions in with our high school kids like we do at the elementary level with those kids. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know I spoke kind of fast and we got a lot on the agenda tonight, but I wanted to keep it pretty simple.
I know my oldest son had block scheduling when he was in high school at Huntsville, and they loved it.
Yeah.
All of them.
I know
Too, didn't you, man?
Farmington still does it, right? Mr. Law, Farmington still does block. There's a lot of schools around. I was surprised you can go to, when I called the equipment principal, he said, can I ask how you knew we was block schedule? I said, yeah, I just went in and typed in the schools that's block schedule in Arkansas. And took me to this website, and I told him, and he goes, I didn't know you could do that. He goes, how many are there? And I said, a lot more than you think there is. And so there was Farmington up here. There was 3 or 4 more others. A lot of them were middle schools in the Fayetteville area. So I was trying to find a school that's about St. Paul size. Quitman's a 2A school. They're probably double us. I think he told me they have 2 elementary teachers per grade level. And so they're just a little bit bigger than us. And so like the principal is the assistant superintendent who's also one of the coaches. The superintendent's also an instructional facilitator who also drives a bus. So, you know, sounds like what we do here. So I definitely want to reach out with them. And if it's something we like, I'm going to take a group of kids to Farmington to let them see what it looks like. Let them go into a class and see what that, it's a lot closer for us to get to Farmington. That's what we'll do.
I know as somebody who struggled with math, block scheduling was really good for me.
Block scheduling
Was really good for me when,
Good.
because we
Gives
had.
you more
we had
Longer class periods.
Yeah, if it
We
hadn't
had
been for
18
block
weeks
scheduling,
of
my
one
oldest would never graduate.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things we would have to do, you know, I'm a teacher. One of the things we'd have to do is change the way that we instruct in the class. It can't go back to the traditional sit and get. That's not what it's about. And that's what the equipment principal told me. He said, you can't go in there and not get the kids engaged because they're already miserable in a 60-minute class. They're 90 minutes. Ours would be even longer. He said, can you imagine the misery if you don't have your kids engaged? So my plan is to bring in some PD training. He gave me the people to reach out to that he said was wonderful to work with them. And that's what we'll do in our back to school PD. If we choose to go this route, that's what we'll do.
I know I liked it when we were out in school, because my senior year was our last year of doing it.
Really, we're at Huntsville. And so when did they get away from it?
2004 was the last year.
2004.
Can I ask why? Does anybody know why they got away from it?
They went to flex mode,
Changed
didn't they?
No, we went to traditional.
Okay.
I got escorted out of the school board meeting when they switched because I made one of the board members mad, so I don't know what they finished up as.
Well, I like to hear the positives and the negatives about everything. Kind
So
of
there
give
was
me
a
a pro
lot of
and
us
con.
that were
way.
graduating at Christmas.
Huh?
There was a lot of us graduating at Christmas because we did 18 weeks.
Yeah.
So we just had 4 classes for the
So y'all
fall.
did a 4x4 block. Y'all did the first semester, second semester.
And so
Now,
if you took your senior English at the beginning of the year, you didn't have to go the rest of the
I
year.
thought about that, but with state assessments, let's say we take English at the first semester and we don't do a summative assessment till the end of the year, you've kind of lost that in a 4x4 block.
And I think that's a lot of things that
4x4.
teachers didn't like about it is, you know.
But you can go to an AB block where it's a year long. And one of the things it does also, we have 7 classes plus an RTI class. Now we can go to 8 classes and still have an RTI. You're gonna have RTI built into your classes and it's gonna give us another elective for the high school kids. Billy and I and Maddie and I, we've been looking at Arkansas course codes and what more we could offer as electives that get our kids more, give them something more to do, kind of like the climbing club there. Give them another class that they can meet those requirements with. So a lot of positives. Like I said, I may not like it when I get there and see it in action, but we'll see.
Well, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And there is no silver bullet.
Absolutely.
You know? But you, as well as all of our principals, I appreciate the work that everybody puts in looking at, you know, it's easy to just keep doing what we're doing.
It is.
You know, that's it. That's the easy thing to do. Yeah. The hard thing is to look at what we're doing and look for ways that we can improve and get better. And I applaud you all for doing that. I applaud our others for doing that also. So
well, you've all heard the saying, keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. You know, well, if we're wanting to get here, something's gotta change, you know, and you know, change is a process, and I'm gonna tell you, change is scary. Every one of my staff can tell you, change is scary. When you think about going to a change, boy, my classroom's gonna change. And, oh my gosh, I gotta be with this group of kids for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I don't want them for 30 minutes a day, and now I'm stuck, you know, just things like that. I mean, we all think that way, and so anyway, it's just something we gotta.
Makes you really identify what's important.
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is, are we here for us, or are we here for the kids? And so we have to think, if this is gonna help our kids, then it doesn't matter what I think about being in a classroom for an extended period of time, I gotta change what I'm doing to meet the needs of the kids. That's what it's all about anyway. So, thank you guys.
Anybody have any questions?
Bailey, will you share that with me?
I will.
All right. Thank you, Bruce, and again, thank you to your team for hosting us, and it's always great to come down here. I mean, it's just good people here. I really enjoy coming down every time I do.
One thing that didn't get mentioned, and I don't know if high school was gonna do it, but was the 8th grade going up, or having the 8th grade night, you know, going to high school. I don't think anybody actually mentioned that tonight.
Yeah.
It's next Tuesday, right? The 11th?
Yes, the high school's really hosting it, but they're doing it at the middle school.
Right,
so.
right. I just,
Yeah.
you know, I know that they put it out on Facebook a few times, but I just wanted to make sure that
Good, I'm glad you did.
everybody knows that
Yes.
next Tuesday, the 11th is when that's going to be.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, moving on then. Superintendent's reports, I just like to leave item A on. I mean, it's been on ever since I got here, and it's now becoming a competition to see if I can actually go 12 months and keep that on the, I don't know what to, I mean, we are still waiting and at the point, you know, that land goes up in value, we might want to reevaluate that, I don't know. But we are still waiting for a survey, and I don't know what else to add.
I know whenever I did my survey for my land, it took them a while to get out there. So.
Baseball and softball update, including St. Paul. Let's do the St. Paul component of it. Bailey is going to present some safety things today that do affect St. Paul for next year, and one of the things that it includes is some fencing. We had fencing people out today to look at our fence for the baseball, softball area back there. We don't have a number, don't know what it is, don't know yet.
Yeah.
But we have started to look at that and get an idea as to what that will entail. For baseball and softball update at Huntsville, we are moving on with the building. I really thought the silt fence was gonna go up today, but then the rain hit, and so, but I really, truthfully, Matt and I both kind of encouraged them at our last meeting to give us something people can see so they know we're doing something, you know, and so yeah, we know that is taking place. There is one thing I wanna go over with you about that. As you recall, the mayor came in and presented his hope to put some parking down at the bottom of the hill, down by where the new water park is going in for the city, and a road. And in the process of all that, we have that retention pond that we knew we were going to have to do something with. Then we also have the baseball and softball fields partially on grade. The softball field is roughly 30 feet in the outfield from being on grade. The baseball field is somewhere between 20 feet behind third base roughly to about 50 feet behind first base on grade. So there is still some work to do there. As we got all of our numbers finalized, which you all have already approved, that the baseball and softball organization's paying for, it did in talking with Shelby, and it did become apparent that the bid was a little better than they thought it was going to be, and they had a little extra money left over. And so they wanted to know about expanding that baseball field and that softball field on out. And my gut feeling is they don't quite have enough money to do that. But we don't know for sure. So thinking about the parking down at the bottom and the road coming in, the movement of that retention pond, and the leveling of those baseball and softball fields where we could get them to a field, that's got to be engineered. I mean, we just can't go out, somebody with a bulldozer, and say level it up. That's got to be engineered, because we're moving a tremendous amount of dirt off that hill and down, and that retention pond's got to be right, and that parking is down by the floodplain, and it's got to be right, and it's got to be right. So we've had lots of discussions and lots of meetings, and the mayor has sat in on our last meeting, and he could not have been more agreeable to working with us again like he was at our meeting. But all that being said, to do this properly, to find out where we are, we need that engineered. And that is outside of the scope of what we have already approved to do. So we asked CEI to continue on with what they had already started and expand those areas out to include this. And they agreed to do that, but of course, you know, there's a fee to everything, yes. And so they want $23,000 to engineer that, and that is really 3 projects. Really, I guess you could say 4. It's 2 ball fields, to some degree, the retention pond, and the parking in the road coming in on the bottom.
Is the city of Huntsville kicking in?
Well, no, not on this. The city of Huntsville has agreed in principle. I don't know that it's been to the council yet, so I hate to speak too much.
I understand.
To try to share some costs on the road and on the parking, but until Travis gets an and it's hard for them to say too, because they don't know what it's going to cost, because until it's engineered, we don't know what we're getting into, you know. So my proposal would be that we do pay this $23,000, and then we find out exactly where we're at. And my thoughts are that the baseball and softball group will contribute some money, a substantial amount of money, 6 figures, on leveling, doing more dirt work on the 2 ball fields. I don't think they'll have enough to completely finish them. We knew the retention pond was going to have to be moved, and that's us. And then the parking and road, we hope to share some costs with the city after we get the numbers. But until we get it engineered, we just don't know. I could very well see us talking about just the baseball and softball component of, we as a district are going to get and when I say field, that's all I mean. I mean, we would get a hydro-seeded field for softball and a hydro-seeded field for baseball, and an indoor workout area for both. And we might have to put a few $1,000s in it, It's still gonna be one of the best buys you'll ever get. You know, you're gonna get $3 or $4 million worth of stuff for whatever it turns out to be. My proposal or my thoughts would be, let's approve that, let's get it engineered, let's find out what we're talking about, let's get it bid out and see what it's gonna cost. And then if you elect not to do it, it's still engineered, it's still ready, all the numbers will be the same. And whatever point you do decide to pick it up, at least that component of it will be done. So, anybody have any questions on that or
It'd be
thoughts?
cheaper to get it done now than it will 2 years from now.
Certainly will be.
Absolutely. I'll make a
Stuff
motion.
ain't getting no
Well,
cheaper.
I would recommend then that we
Motion by Josh,
approve,
second.
hang on a second, that we approve $23,000 to CEI for engineering the additional work around the baseball, softball, the parking, and the retention area.
I'll make a motion.
Josh, Nick, all in favor?
Okay, thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
All that came in today, that's why I just have it as a hand carry, I'm sorry. School-based health clinic. Matt?
I mean, Blaine can speak to this too, but, we're getting really close. I mean, they put a coat of wax on the floors in there and, everything's pretty well ready to go. Boston Mountain has ordered their equipment. It'll be delivered next week. We're hoping to have some concrete down. You know, the rain's not helping us any, but, they started forming that up yesterday for the sidewalk and, so hopefully we'll have the concrete in, but if not, we'll find a way to get the exam beds and all of that in there and
No, the
get that set
walkway of
up.
that's
So,
gonna go through the practice field.
And go on the edge of it.
on the edge of it, yes. Yeah.
On the school building side?
Yeah, and so that's the last thing really on the outside that needs to go in, the fencing around that and the sidewalk and all that, but, the inside's pretty well finished. I know we got the front desk windows still to do, but, it's about ready to go. And, March 18th is when we plan to do, you know, during our parent-teacher conferences, do a grand opening and get everybody over there to see it. And I think Kelly's working on maybe doing some kind of raffle or something, so everybody that comes by can put their name in a raffle. And, so really excited, and Kelly is too. You know, she's chomping at the bit to really get rolling with that. So I think it's going to be a great thing for our community. One of the things that I'd like to mention tonight is we've sent out some enrollment packets with our elementary kids. There's a digital link for that as well for middle school and high school. We really need some people to start filling those enrollment forms out. It's a big packet. It's daunting to look at. There's, I think, 14 pages for Boston Mountain, but we've asked them, they can't make that any smaller or do anything different to it. But it has to be filled out for us to be able to see those kids in the clinic. And so, but we're excited about it. You know, it's gonna provide a great thing for our community and our kids. So, Lane, you wanna add anything?
No, whenever we started that is such a small area, a 30 by 30 area, you know, and for them to work out a blueprint or a plan to put 3 exam rooms and 2 offices and a storage room in, I thought, man, this is gonna be crazy. But they did a good job designing it. The layout on it, I think, is pretty good. We've kind of worked for the future growth if there's another clinic that comes in for the next door. So we're trying to prepare for the future on it. Our guys put a lot of hours into it, worked hard on it. It's not a brand new facility by any means, and I'm still trying to look at Matt's shoes to see.
Somebody stepped on the wax and he keeps trying to blame me for it.
So, but no, it's turned out really nice. The 2 things that we got left to do now is put on the door and drawer pulls on the cabinets and the glass, and we've got the painter scheduled to come back and do the touch-up painting on it. So we may wait until Boston Mountain gets all their beds and stuff moved in to get them scheduled to come back in. So we're done with it, but yeah, it's turned out pretty good.
Yeah, we'd love for you guys to come look at it on March 18th when we do that grand opening.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Just for information, purchase order cutoff for our buildings is gonna be April 1st, 2025. That is, we typically, everybody cuts off purchase orders at some point. The main reason for that is things have to be ordered, things have to be shipped, they have to be delivered, they have to be paid for, everything has to be closed out. But June 30th is we close the fiscal year, and anything that carries over by accident really causes a huge problem with reopening the books. So you all have in the past, every school district does, truth of the matter is, if you need it to teach kids, you should have bought it before April 1st. We should have had it in September, October. So, so we will cut off purchase orders. That's not to say they need toilet paper or they need this, that, or the other. We will still get that, but general purchase orders will be cut off. And that's why, just in case anybody asks you why we do that, that's why we do that. We did receive a $78,000 professional development grant. And, the state of Arkansas has given a tremendous amount of money to Solution Tree over the past few years. Some say up to $400 million over a period of time. They pulled that back last year, and they took a very small portion of that, and they divided that up amongst the school districts based on enrollment. Put it up for a grant. We did apply for the grant. We received that. We have had discussions with our principals twice about different ways we can use that. This is kind of free money that we can use to really look at what we're doing, so we will have more to tell you about that. But it is exciting to have that and have the opportunity to review what we're doing and look at ways that we could possibly do things better. So I want to share that with you. The land sale, land for sale at St. Paul. There is a small piece of property over here on the other side of our bus barn. It's actually about 8 acres, I've found out. I don't have enough information to tell you a whole lot yet. I just found out actually who owns it just today, actually. But I do know that part of it's in floodplain, which means it would be hard for us to use that. I don't know how much of that is. And then part of it is broken up in the middle. And so until I get a true lay of the land, anytime you get an opportunity to get land that borders your district, you at least have to look at it. And so we will look at it. We will have more to share with you all about that. Then you all can make a decision. I've also heard that there might be another piece here that's about an acre that might be available too.
Yes, sir. I'm not so excited about the floodplain one, but the one across from Miss Maloney's is for sale.
Okay. And is that back over here by the yellow house or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I heard about too.
The price is $9,000.
Yeah. How much land is it? Is it enough where we could ever use it for anything, or is it?
Well, like I've heard before, they're not making no more of it.
Well, you're right about that.
It is in the drought.
All right, we'll look at it. I just heard about it today.
Yeah, but I've lived here all my life. There's not a whole lot of that over there that's gonna do you any good on certain times.
Yeah, I was a little afraid with some of the things I found out today that might be right. But we will look at it. We'll have more to report to you about that. And then the last thing was David Preston was elected Conference Athletic Director of the Year, and he's not here tonight, but next time you see him, you might give him a pat on the back and congratulate him. That's a great honor.
Well
deserved. And we were certainly happy for David. We got everything knocked out for you, Bruce, in your other one, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. In new business.
Bailey was gonna talk about something with safety and stuff at the St. Paul baseball field, or is that later?
We're gonna get it right here.
Okay.
In new business, we've got information under tab A that is listed as school safety grant and cyber policies. So I will just turn it over to you, Bailey, and you take it from here.
Is it the grant first or cyber?
Either, it doesn't matter to me. We're gonna get approval on both of them.
In the book, it's grant first.
All right, well, the book, if it's grant first, that's what we'll start with. So, you probably remember me telling you back in January, I believe, that, the state allocated $50 million to use for school safety. Our portion of that ended up being $192,028. You know, the last time that happened, we, you know, as a district, we kind of prioritized what we spent, and a big portion of that was for rekeying the district, and then we'd spend it on redoing the primary school, redoing their office to make that a single point of entry, and some replacing hollow core doors and that kind of thing. So when we approached this, I worked with every principal, every department head, director to, you know, to compile a master list of safety concerns, you know, because we have to have a goal to work towards. And so even if we can't get it on this grant, then we'll have something to work towards. And so, so you'll see here in this proposal that, you know, I've broken it out by campus. And so you kind of, like at high school, we're looking at getting that fence and stuff going there. At the high school campus, we installed that years ago, and for other reasons at the time, we just couldn't get it going, but you know, we're ready to start implementing that. CTE, concern there has been their safety of their labs whenever the bay doors are open, so we're going to be installing some security gates there that they can expand and padlock whenever the bay doors are open. Intermediate school is going to be some fence repair, and then some replacing some of their old barricades for parking that we use for like bus duty during the day and that kind of stuff. Transportation, they needed a new fence and a gate up there, and so that's for that. At St. Paul, one big one for here is, you know, this is all in phases, but what we could afford to do here is we're going to be fencing in the entire high school campus that we're on right now. So that will be installing a cantilever gate up here by the road by the cafeteria, and it'll connect the cafeteria building over to Agri, and then from Agri down to the main building, and then there'll be a section of fence from this building to the cafeteria. So that will kind of encapsulate that. So that's going to be, you know, $22,000 to do that. We are also looking at building at high school, St. Paul High School and St. Paul Elementary, a single point of entry. So whenever they get buzzed in the exterior doors, they have another set of doors that they have to be buzzed into before they can get further into the campus. So they'll come in, they'll get to the office window so they can visit with Miss Cindy or Miss Shirley, and you know, if they're needed on further, then they can be buzzed in further into the campus. And then we also have some hollow core doors to replace down here as well. So that's at our St. Paul campus. At the primary school, a big chunk is replacing that fence. That's some of our oldest playground fencing that we have in the district. And so, that, as long as I've been doing this, that's a request and a concern of theirs that they've had. And generally, we just don't have funding to do fencing. And so you'll notice a lot of this, we've kind of tried to prioritize fencing. Because other avenues or other funds we have, you know, we can kind of get some other stuff out of that, but fencing isn't generally something that we can use. So that's part of this, and then also some parking barriers there. Maintenance had requested some padlocks. These will be compatible with our existing key system, so we don't have to have a separate, you know, key just for the padlocks. We can use the rekeying that we did. We can use that same key on these padlocks. And then a big one that is, you know, one of the things we can use this grant for is signage. And so, you know, time and time again, the request has been, well, can we do anything about like our road frontage signage by the schools? And so this is something that we can, that we're planning on doing with that, is replacing the signs at the front of each school. At St. Paul, I visited with Mr. Dunlap. We're not going to replace that sign, but we're going to replace the sign on the front of the building, because the sign up by Agri, you know, it's pretty decent, honestly. And so that's where, visiting with them, that's where they'd rather see their money, because like the sign on the front of the high school's faded and worn out, and so we're looking at doing that instead.
Would the old sign be something like, say, for instance, FCCLA or such could profit from through raffles or such?
I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
Like auction off the sign?
The old sign.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the signs we're replacing.
Yes.
I mean, sure. Yes.
You know, a lot of people might think that sounds real goofy, but I ended up getting the old sign out of the old dumpster before this one.
Okay.
But my son was working for the school program at the time. they said, take it. Never had so many people bug me for a sign in my life. And that sign's still right down there on a man's wall in his shop in Combs today. I give it to him.
Yeah.
So, just don't let them hit the dumps.
Sure, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep.
That's definitely something we can explore.
You bet.
Now, I did want to say, like, for this price, these signs are not gonna be digital marquee or anything like that. They're just gonna be static signs like we have now. And then, exterior signage, we're replacing our, signs in our parking lots, that kind of thing. Visitors check in here where the main office is at. No weapons on campus, that kind of stuff. And so all that comes out to about 200,000, which is obviously about 8,000 more than the grant. What we're anticipating is, when we can approve these purchases, that when they go to bid, because you have a lot more negotiating power when you buy in bulk. And so when we're buying a couple thousand feet or 1,500 feet of fence, we get a lot more negotiating room than we do when we buy 100 feet of fence. And so we're expecting that these because the way they did it, they priced it individually per project, and not the negotiating power we'll have when we buy it in bulk. So we're anticipating that this cost will be significantly more down to the 192, and what's over that we feel like we can absorb in the district.
One more question,
Yes.
Bailey. We're on the fencing. It is my understanding over here by the bus garage, between the school and the city, there has been some misunderstandings. Has that been solved?
Well, that's something we're working on right now, yes, sir. That is not something that's been solved yet, but that is something we're exploring.
Okay, and for sure need to get it where, if we're gonna stop at the stop sign, we don't have to go past it
Sure.
another 10 or 15 foot to see if anything's shooting off that hill.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually something we just met about today is the fencing for the bus shop.
At different days, I do deliver my own granddaughters.
Sure.
And that is a problem.
Yep. Yep, so that is something that we're working on as well.
Thank you.
And then, as Mr. Law had mentioned, they did come and they priced out, they're going to be pricing out that exterior fence at
Yeah,
the.
I just knew there
baseball
was a
field.
misunderstanding between the school and the city there somehow. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a hold of the mayor. I'm sure you can help me with that. We're just trying, it's my understanding there was a zoning issue or something about how close we could build it. And so that is something that we're actively pursuing.
I know a former mayor has all the details for sure.
Okay. Well, I may get with you afterwards and see if you can help me make progress on that. But so that's really what I'm here asking for tonight is just, obviously these are over our threshold, and we want your approval to go forward with that. And then the other pages is just stuff that we're already doing. I'm very proud of, as a district, how proactive we are in the safety that we're taking. Not in just many facets, but so you can see already what we're either got planned that we're expended out of our budget this year, or what's already still being funded through the COPS grant. All the shatter resistant window film and that kind of stuff that's going on every campus. And so you can just kind of see a list of all that there, additional access control in some areas.
I have a question. On
Yeah.
the open ceiling space in the lower elementary, is that like soon or is
No, that's planned, like that will be done this summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I just didn't know what the
Yeah.
timeline was.
Yeah,
on
so
that.
anything on the second list, that's all being done, like that'll be done by the start of school
Okay.
next year. And so, so that's the safety grant piece. I'm
Okay, so what we would be asking then is for approval to spend $200,930. We believe it will actually be less than that as we bid these out, and like the fencing, we do it in bulk. We do think it will be cheaper, but what we would be asking for was your approval then to spend $200,930 on the school safety grant.
I have a question before. So on the fencing, whenever you got your pricing, did you just go to somebody and get a budget price?
Yeah, so we'll put it out for other bids.
And then now it'll go for bid for however many people want to bid on it? Okay.
All right, now can I get approval? All right, Natalie, Bobby, all in favor?
Okay, thank you. All right, second item there is the cyber policy.
Yes, so the state passed this in a commissioner's memo law that all school boards, they've released a set of cybersecurity policies for K-12, and they're fairly lengthy. And anyway, so this is basically just establishing a statewide standards and procedures for implementing security best practices. A lot of this is stuff that we're already, in our district, we're already doing, but that's just because we're proactive. A lot of schools are not doing this, and so you read all the time about schools getting hit with ransomware or cyber, and I mean, truthfully, we need to be doing everything we can because we got very valuable data, at our fingertips. And so this is just the state essentially mandating that all schools implement these cybersecurity policies, and there's 20 standards there that we are supposed to implement, and they're doing it in phases. So phase 1 is the first 6 phases there, and I believe there's a summary sheet in there that says what the first 6 phases are, which I'd have to look at that again, but for the most part, we already have that stuff checked off. And so this is just, by law, we're supposed to adopt it as the board. I do want to say that this is, because of the sensitive nature of this, and this, says what we're doing and what our plan is, we are not to distribute this or post it online or anything like that. That's really all I have for it.
The couple of cases, Bailey, I'm aware of that happened in central Arkansas. They went in with ransomware. They got all the school information, and said, if you don't pay $1 million, we're going to release all this or we're going to crash it. And I know there have been some cases where people had to pay. They had to put money up to get their stuff back, and so protecting that is critical. And so that's another reason why the state doesn't want this information shared. They want it protected. And anything to add to that? I mean,
I think we can all remember Little Rock School District got hit, Berryville School District got hit, 2 years ago, Greene County Tech, they got hit. I mean, like, it's happening right here. And so yes. So it's a real thing that we need to take seriously. Thankfully, I mean, for us, I do feel like we've done a really good job of being proactive and doing the training with our staff and implementing the multi-factor authentication, that kind of stuff. So I mean, I do feel pretty good about where we're standing on being proactive about that. But this just, like I said, this is something from the state that they are implementing for everyone, so everyone has the same standards that they're all being held to.
So I then would recommend that we adopt the cyber policies as presented.
Can I take Natalie, did you have something to say? No. Okay. Josh, then Nick, all in favor? I just saw you take a deep breath. I was like, oh.
All right. We talked last month a little bit about outsourcing the custodial. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Blaine, would you get us rolling a little bit? We currently require how many people to?
Right now, per our square footage, we need 24 personnel to cover our square footage.
And how many people do we currently have?
We have 14 that is working right now. And then with today, I had 4 off, so we were really down to 10 out of 20.
So that has really prompted our discussion into looking at outsourcing our custodial. We can't cover everything. And Blaine has met with, I believe, 4 different groups. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You have gathered some information on that, and I do believe that is in your book behind tab B. And why don't you tell us kind of where we are with that, Blaine?
I want to start off with saying this. It's not an applicant problem. We get the applicants. Since August, my last count, we were like at 41 applicants. Our biggest problem that we're having right now is the fact of whenever you send somebody to go do their background check, that's up to a 2-week wait on getting the background checks back. Plus, they're having to spend the money out of their pocket, travel to Farmington, get their background checks. A lot of the people just don't have it. And then once they do get their background checked, whenever you sit down and talk with them, it's like being paid once a month. They're having issues with waiting 30, 45 days to get their first paycheck. So today, for an example, I had one that was supposed to come in and start today, and he come back in because I got his background check on Friday. And he come in today and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to come to work because I've got another job offer somewhere else. So we're losing out on a lot of those candidates. One of the things that we looked at was outsourcing basically district-wide. one thing that I promised our custodial staff is that if this is detrimental to any of our staff in any means or any fashion, that we would not go down that route. The unfortunate part of it is the companies that come in and bid this to maintain our current staffing at their wages. You can see on that form that Mr. Law pointed out, we've got bids from $978,000 to completely take it over, to $891,000 to completely take it over. If 4M come in and did it with their pricing, that would drop it down to about $600,000 for them to take over basically everything. So with talking with Mr. Law and kind of talking with our custodians, I think what I would like to propose tonight is a possibility of doing, is kind of splitting this. We maintain our current custodians that we have and then get this company to outsource where we're needed now, which would be moving to the middle school and high school in Huntsville, and then kind of stacking the rest of our staff on on the intermediate, primary, and to St. Paul. And with our current staffing levels, what that would basically do is put us one extra on each one of these campuses to help cover for any sicknesses or vacations or anything like that. But right now, we're just running short, and it's trying to just figure out how do we keep things clean, how do we keep the bugs from bug infestations down and stuff like that. So my proposal right now is to go with the one that is highlighted on that form, which is from 4M Solutions, which is $19,155 a month. There will be tax on top of that. They will come in, they can start April 1st to take over the high school and the middle school. And then we would sign a contract in July with them to maintain that cost for a year.
So there's a couple of advantages with 4M. Number one, the top two and the two that actually cost the most did not want any part of doing partial. They wanted it all or nothing. Then of course you look at the next two, and they would do partial, but the monthly price difference was like $19,000 a month or $35,000 a month.
$16,000 difference.
And so that's a pretty easy decision there also.
And the $19,000 a month, that includes them buying all of the chemicals, all the cleaning chemicals, and all the waxing, and them taking care of the waxing. With the $35,000, it's basically just paying their labor.
But what on that, what happens to our employees right here?
You have 3 really good employees at St. Paul.
Yeah,
and they do a wonderful job, and they want to stay, and we want to keep them.
Good.
So they'll be here. The other people in Huntsville will be split between the 2 elementary schools, and they will still cover some athletics.
Yes, they still
at this
have
point.
athletics.
And then the new company will take over the middle school and the high school.
And somewhere down the road, these 3 we're so proud of, as they leave, eventually everyone leaves, will they be replaced?
Well, if we can find quality people to replace them that want to come in and work, they will be replaced.
That's what I say, I don't wanna.
And if we get in the same point in St. Paul like we are in Huntsville, where we can't get workers, then we would, I guess, but that's on down the road.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to say too, and the one thing that 4M, what I like about 4M is we're talking about para-pay and stuff like that. The one thing that 4M has said is they want to come in and talk to some of our paras and some of our classified staff, because they may end up putting 6 personnel on a campus and only working them 4 hours a night afterwards. So they want to extend their services out to some of these paraprofessionals and stuff to help cover some of the shortages in the staffing, to give some of these paras and classified staff, whether it's food service or just a para, or even some of my custodial staff that we keep, to help augment their incomes with that. And because now if I have somebody off, it's a 9-hour shift that I'm missing. So if with them, if they have somebody off, I mean, it's a 4-hour shift. So, I mean, it's a good opportunity for them to make a little extra spending money too.
Anybody have any questions or?
Where's 4M out? Where's their?
They are located, their parent, they are located out of, Kansas City, Missouri. They have an office or they have a branch basically in the Fayetteville, Springville area.
Okay, so they got somebody you can go over and look at if you need to without having to go Kansas City or do it on a Zoom meeting or something.
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
and I've got the price breakdown of what they're gonna pay their employees, and they're gonna have a lead custodian that's gonna float between the two buildings. Overseeing everything, so if there's a problem, we'll have one point of contact to contact them. And there will be problems, I'm sure, I mean, there always will be, but, whenever I called and checked references, one of the biggest things that they said about 4M is they were quick to respond to issues. And, they will be in contact with me basically daily.
And they're still gonna go through the background check, all of.
That was one of the requirements that I put, is they still have to go through all of the same background checks as we do. With our new key system and our badge system, they're not gonna have a generic badge. The key will be assigned to that person. And they'll be responsible just like how we're holding our staff responsible for that.
So if they go in a door, their key works the door, and they go in there, it will pop up, they're the one that went through there?
Well, if they use their badge.
Yeah.
It will.
But you have to use the badge to get in the exterior.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm saying, so, but it does pop up their name and the time if there is a problem, okay.
And then plus Bailey he's done a fantastic job of getting cameras in all these places too, so if there's an issue, we can go back and track all that.
My recommendation then would be that we move forward with 4M, starting April 1st at, the $19,155 a month. And, we will move forward from there and see where we go.
I have to recuse myself from this vote.
Well, one of them's my ex-son-in-law, should I recuse myself also?
You can, you don't necessarily have to, but we still have 4 without you, so you know what I mean?
It just, that way there's no.
Okay.
I have one more question. So this is until July and then we do a year contract in July or?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what.
That's correct. So really, we would be looking at, 3 months
Yeah.
of
So
this
if
year
it
and then
was a
12
flop or
months.
something didn't
12
work
months
out.
next year, but we have a 30-day clause to
Okay.
get out at any point if we're not satisfied.
Okay.
My recommendation would be that we approve 4M.
Can I get a motion? So, motion by Nick, second by Natalie. Everybody in favor?
Okay, thank you. All right. Gifted and talented addition, Matt's worked on this. We have, we're really running, am I saying this correct, Bruce, to say you have a halftime?
Here,
Uh-huh.
not really halftime, just third of the time probably.
But you do have yours covered.
I do.
And at Huntsville, due to the sheer numbers of students, we only have one person. And in looking at our neighbors that are of similar size, virtually all of them have 2 people. We just can't serve that many kids with one person. And so, Matt, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I apologize for not putting that in there as well, but, Ms. Franklin did the research on that and came back with all the districts in our co-op area and then plus some other districts. And there's not any other districts that are running as tight as we are on GT, and, most of them have 3, some have 2. And, we're fortunate that she's putting in the work to keep all that where it needs to be right now. And, Ms. Shaw down here is helping with St. Paul, and, we plan to continue with something down here at St. Paul, but, we do really feel like we need to add an additional person, to help with GT in Huntsville and, potentially helping down here as well. So,
I'm never real crazy about adding personnel,
Yeah.
but this is the personnel we need. So, I would recommend that we approve the opportunity to look at a additional GT person for next year in Huntsville.
Can I get a motion to approve? Natalie, second. Josh, all in favor?
Okay. Nothing worse than having to cancel school. Unless it's having to make the days up, you know? So, during one of our snow days, we Zoomed as an administrative team and talked about makeup ideas, and our calendar currently shows, that we will use the last Friday, or May 23rd and May 27th through the 30th as our makeup days. That's 5 days, but we actually have 6. Our calendar also says that the superintendent has the discretion to schedule any Monday. So all that is kind of set. But in talking to our principals, you know, the days at the end are good, but the days before testing are even better. The problem is we're at the 1st of March. We got spring break coming up. We can't say we're gonna have school Monday. You know, it'd be hard for parents to even say we're gonna have school the next, you know. So our window gets shorter, and then you get into the end of April and our testing window, so it's gotta be squeezed in. So there's not a perfect way to do this, to be honest with you. So what I've decided on is, we did poll the teachers. We asked our teachers to give us a vote on that, and the agreeable May 23rd, which is Friday, we left in as a makeup day. And then when you look down through at teacher preferences, it was May 27th, May 28th, May 29th, March 21st, which is the Friday before spring break, and Monday, April the 7th. That makes up all the days. When we get into Mondays, we get into classified staff and overtime issues. We get into, we're still running our pre-K on Monday, and we have some cafeteria personnel that then would be double booked on those days. We get into some custodial problems with personnel trying to get to everything. And it seemed to me, and we've met on this, and I know that, you know, some of our, you know, some would like to do another Monday or two, but when you look at it, this seems to be consistent with what we said at the start of the year. We made the calendar we were going to do it. You know, that Friday of before spring break, they're already out on Monday, so it would have just been a 3-day week. They do have parent-teacher conferences that night, that week, so it will be a hard week, and then come back on Friday, but we will be able to get a day in. We will be able to get a day in before the testing window. And then that April 7th will give us another day before the testing window. And, you know, and this seems to be kind of the most popular way to do it also. So, you know, a lot of people make plans on Mondays. A lot of people make plans on different days. And so this seemed to be the least intrusive on everyone.
Well, that's the only concern I would have is that Friday before spring break, since that's been on the schedule. How many teachers are we going to have gone already that had plans?
Well, of the staff at Huntsville, that was the most popular choice other than the days on the end of school.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why we asked, just to get some feedback on it.
Yeah.
So
that survey that you're looking at was sent out to all staff, and
okay.
So you had 119 responses for that March 21st day.
So my recommendation then on the makeup days would be March 21st, April 7th, May 23rd, May 27th, May 28th, May 29th. that will, there'll always be a few that wish it was another way, but we do the best we can. So that would be my recommendation on the makeup days.
You say the 7th of April?
7th of April.
And then the
23rd of May.
Okay.
27th of May. 28th of May. 29th of May.
So, the 23rd of May is not even on here, right?
That's a Friday.
Look at the top. So the 23rd was already our first snow day. We went ahead and put that on the calendar for for May 23rd.
And we'll just come back 3 days after Memorial Day.
And hope we don't get any more snow, tomorrow.
I was about to say, about, 12 hours, but yes.
till December.
Yeah, that's right.
No more
After
snow till
July 1,
December.
So that would be my recommendation.
Get a motion to approve those dates. Josh, second. Nick, all in favor?
All right, thank you. In looking at, Harry has been to see me multiple times. We do not have our buses on a rotation system. Some schools do, some don't. I don't really like the rotation myself because, you just need the flexibility. When you need them, when you don't, But we have many buses that are well over 20 years old, that are in rough shape. And it just so happened that they found these buses just about a week ago under tab E. There are more than two, but two's all I feel comfortable with at this time. They did go down Monday and look at them. These are used buses. We can buy 2 of these used buses for a little more than half of what a new bus costs. Harry he thought we ought to get used buses also. And he was driving a route tonight, so he couldn't get back here, but this is by the earliest I've ever bought buses. That makes me a little nervous, because we don't know our final number yet. But looking at the fuel we spent on the 4-day week, as opposed to what we budgeted, which was continuance of the 5-day week, I feel good. Tina, you've looked at it. We don't know, but the opportunity to get these buses we think is just too good to pass on, and so anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts on that? I would recommend then that we approve the purchase of 2 buses for $49,100 each. And these are Bluebird buses. They have air brakes, which was a big plus. They do have the Cummins engine, which is exactly what he was looking for. And so we would like to get approval on this and they're gonna paint the buses for us. That we knew they'd change the lettering, but they're gonna paint the buses for us. Plus these do have a 3-year warranty on them, which we're amazed by. We've never got a warranty on them. Wow. So, we just feel like it's an awfully good deal. We don't wanna pass on it. We're afraid they're gonna disappear. And so, with your approval, we would like to purchase these 2 buses for $49,100.
First by Natalie, second by Steve, all in favor?
Thank you.
They're gonna deliver them too.
They're gonna deliver them, that's right.
Is this a place that does this? Like, is that what they do?
Yeah, that's what they do. They do buses. Yep.
It's a good contact to have.
Out of Tulsa.
Yeah.
I remember we used to go pick them up.
Yep.
Like we do a little leave dinner in the van and they bring a bus back.
Legal liability insurance protects our staff. This is from School Board Association. It is, it protects our staff back from any legal concerns that they might have in the performance of their job. It shows a list, I believe, on the 3rd page of the coverage. This is something you all have carried in the past. Most school districts, I won't say all because I don't know all, but most school districts carry this for their staff. You have carried it in the past, and we would like to continue this. It's only $13,000, which in the overall scheme of things is not a lot of money if a staff member were to really need it. So I would recommend then that we approve the legal liability insurance from Cadence Insurance.
First by Steve, second by Nick, all in
The CD renewal, Tina's worked very hard on this. Our CDs are up. She's actually had them transferred, I believe, into a money market account as we speak today. But the quicker we can get them back into a CD, the more interest we'll draw. We typically just bid those out and go with the best bidder. And you can see that Cornerstone Bank at 4.53% was the best price. We have how much money in these, Tina?
425,000.
In one
400 in one.
and 25 in the other. Okay, so that would be $425,000 of district money. Then I mean, it is just sitting there. We ought to draw interest on it. We ought to draw as much as we can on it. And my recommendation, since the 6-month rate is actually better than the 12-month rate, is we'll just go with the 6-month rate. We'll lock it in, and sometime back in the fall, Tina can look at that, and you all can make a decision based on those rates as to where you want to go at this time. So I would recommend then that we proceed on with transferring our CDs over to Cornerstone Bank at the 4.53 rate as listed.
All right, motion by Steve and Natalie, all in favor?
Okay, you have a item that's a hand carry from the middle school. This is a field trip to go to Springfield, Missouri on March 19th. Anything you want to add about that, Tammy?
It's a grade level field trip for 6th grade, and then there's also one below it for our clubs to go to Silver Dollar City on May 15th.
I'm glad you saw that, because okay. So there are actually 2 on there.
Cincinnati's done it for years, haven't they?
Okay, yeah,
Seemed like
I'm
they've
sure
done
they
it for the last three.
But you've got to approve it because it's out of
Right,
state.
no, I was just saying that we,
Yeah.
just basically continuing on what
Yeah.
we've been doing.
It's good experience for the kids.
Yeah.
So I would recommend then that we approve these two field trips for the middle school.
Steve, Nick, all in favor?
Okay, thank you. It sure seems like I'm missing a hand carry, and I can't think of what it is, but we will,
Is it personnel? 'Cause I
we
don't
will
have
pick it
personnel.
up. I know we've still got personnel, but okay.
You don't have to know?
And then we do have personnel as our final item. I got it right. The hires are Brittany Henderson, Jackie Hancock, Janice Good, Jessica Yates, Alicia Johnson. The resignations are Ashley Cisco, Colleen Bond, and then the licensed resignations are Florence Trahan, Daryl Trahan, and Michael Foster. And those are retiring at the end of the year, those 3. So,
We need to be sure and thank them for the time they've given.
we do,
Yeah.
we do.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
100%.
I would recommend then that we approve that slate of personnel.
All in favor? And thank you, Flo.
The
Out of the
only,
way and-
the only other item is we do need to have a school disciplinary hearing next Tuesday night, and I need 4 people to be there. Can I get
What time will that be?
5 and 5:30? But I can make the time what you need it to be to get you there.
What time is the 8th grade,
I could have it at
high school?
4:30 and 5 if that's better for you. What time is that?
5:30.
So-
Lunch is at 5:30 and it starts at 6.
How about we have these disciplinary hearings at 4:30 and at 5? And then that way we will be through. So you 2 can do it?
Yeah, if we have them early like that. I can't-
There's 3, I need 1 more.
Oh, is
Bobby,
Connie
can you do
still
it?
working
Thank
in
you.
town?
All right. And then we'll check with Connie and see if she can do it also.
I was about to
Okay?
say, I'll be in.
Okay, all right, okay. So we will set that up then for next Thursday night.
I can make it.
Am I forgetting something?
Tuesday night, Thursday.
Tuesday night, what'd I say?
Thursday.
I'm sorry, Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bruce, thank you for hosting us.
Absolutely. Well,
The food was
we
excellent.
never did go back to the St. Paul baseball field.
I mean, all I talked about was just we were bidding it out.
So all
I
we're,
didn't even hear that.
all we're doing is we did have the people come out and look at the fence today. They are going to put that, since we're having these fencing projects done here, They are going to give us a price. We thought we could get a better price on it while they were here doing it all.
Right.
If we put that in, after we get the price, I'll come back to you and tell you what that costs, because I'll still need to get your approval to move forward with that. We are looking at, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but we are looking at, the possibility of revamping that field a little bit, where they could possibly play, co-ed baseball on it in the future. We seem to have some interest in that. I came down for the pie sale night, and I don't want to make up a number, but I had multiple parents ask me about it and whether or not we were going to be able to do it. I hear numbers that are in the younger grades at St. Paul. They have 40 and 50 kids playing baseball. We don't have the space, we don't have the money, we don't have anything to jump into a big deal right now, but we do have a baseball field out here limited.
That's on school property?
Okay. With limited.
That's when it washed away down here in the flood.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
That's where we're talking
Okay,
about.
okay.
Yeah.
Over there, I was like,
I
that's
remember
not
when it
any
was a
better.
baseball field.
Anyway, if you drive by, you'll still see there's dugouts there. There's a screen there. The trees have kind of grown over into the infield, but that's a pretty easy fix. You know, the fences behind the backstop and along the sides are good. The fence in the outfield down close to the creek is not good, and so we're going to have that looked at. And it is. I know that I've talked to Bruce about it. He is having a meeting after spring break to see what interest there is. If he meets and there's no interest, then we're not going to put the fence in and do all that. But if there is interest amongst the kids in playing a co-ed baseball, we are going to explore that, and we're going to try to have them a facility to do that on.
Oh, cool.
And with your blessing, you know. So
The kids are excited. They've heard the rumor.
Do they not have like enough girls interested where they could play softball and?
That's our initial approach to it. You know, it's gonna be separate. Fast pitch girls softball, baseball. We don't have enough. Obviously, boys can't play with girls, but girls can play with boys, so we don't have enough.
we don't even have land for a facility to put one on right now. That's why one of these two pieces of property could possibly come in helpful to us.
Absolutely.
The problem is you can't put a ball field in a floodplain, you know, but now this other property we were talking about over here might create some opportunities depending on how it lays and how big it is, you know.
Well, it wouldn't be a big enough for no baseball.
But softball, maybe.
Softball just got a 200 foot
Softball
fence
is
on it.
significantly smaller than
It's
baseball.
just 200 foot to the outfield
Yeah,
fence,
I'm
so.
talking about the one over here by the
Oh.
other house.
Yeah, but I don't think this one's very big either, but you know, for $9,000 and it's right up next to our campus, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
it still could be useful at some point, so.
This just went for sale, and she's on Facebook, just letting everyone know, 9,000. I'm really tempted.
We'll look into it. I'll let you know something on
I did
it.
sell pulled pork there a few days.
All right, anything else? Did we get everything? I feel like there's something hanging, but I can't remember what it is. Next Tuesday night then?
Did they have something to present back here?
Faith and.
Now, Bruce, we got all your people?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Miss Martin and Faith, do they have something?
She's observing, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
She's a
okay.
future teacher in the
Okay.
baby.
Okay. They sat back here being real quiet. I thought, God, I hope we didn't leave them out of it.
Taking notes, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, well, if that's all, I'll get a motion to adjourn. All right, all in favor?
Thank you all.
Be safe.
Be careful driving.